This podcast is brought to you by our Anime Addicts community. If you want to join our community, head over to our Discord, AAAdiscord.com. Get into all the action, the watch parties, the Secret Santas, the betting, the everything. Talking about anime, making friends. Head over to AAAdiscord.com to join the Discord today. It's totally free, and you'll be able to talk to us as well. And now, time to start the podcast.
Get ready! You're about to listen to the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. Make your anime addiction worse at AAApodcast.com. And now, here are your anime addicts.
Oh, welcome into the podcast. Episode 706 of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast, where our sole mission is to make your anime addiction worse. Thank you for tuning in wherever you're watching from, whether it's on Twitch, whether you're at the grocery listening to your AirPods, at work, commuting, wherever it is. Thank you for joining us today. We have a great show for you. I am Mitsugi, and I am joined by the full crew. We have Caroline. She's feeling the Christmas season. How are you, Caroline?
I am. I have my tree here all lit up, and because it's a fake tree, I have a Christmas tree candle going, so I have the scent as well. But I'll be honest with you, the weather has been so dreary today, and it's just one of those Sundays where my energy level is below zero, so therefore, I'm going to do my best to just not fall asleep here.
And in third chair, wearing a Dr. Slump shirt, having just an abundance of hair, the Hamburglar himself, it's Mason.
Mason bot loading 706.exe for talking about my kin. Imagine if I did that the whole podcast.
That would be
robot
awful.
voice.
I might end up doing that myself if my internet craps out.
That's gonna happen.
Oh, who's the better robot? Mason fake making an annoying nasally voice, or Caroline actually glitching to oblivion?
That's gonna be so great.
Let's hope it doesn't happen.
Because today we're gonna be talking about best anime robots. So maybe Caroline will join those ranks. But first, if you want to support the podcast, AAApodcast.com/join or Patreon is the place to go to support the show. You're going to get all of our exclusive content every month. You're going to get our hentai episodes, our hobby addicts, and our after parties. You can hear us talk about video games, movies, books, whatever we're doing on our spare time. And you can also watch us shock and awe Pancake with the hentai episodes. She doesn't even know what she's getting into. And if you want to watch us live on Twitch, Sundays at 5 p.m. Eastern, twitch.tv/AAApodcast. We're so happy to have you guys here. I just renewed the AAAshop.info link for the merchandise store. So,
Perfect for these holiday seasons.
That's right. Well, today on the podcast, we're going to be talking about best robots in anime because we're going to be reviewing Pluto, the Netflix series of Naoki Urasawa's manga, and there's a lot of robots in Pluto. So,
Robots, as your wife calls them.
Yes, as Pancake would say, robots, but Pancake, she wanted to be on the show today. She watched all of Pluto, but she has come down with something, so she's sleeping in the bedroom. So, yes, very sad. So sad. Yes, I feel like there's a drop for that somewhere, but the soundboard is so disorganized. Fuck it. Also, we have some additional reviews. I don't know if you guys know this, but we have managed to select primarily anime that are 26 episodes long. And so...
Oh my god, I can't believe we did that.
It's very unfortunate.
It's just one of those seasons.
And so we're currently have very little to review. So we've actually decided to let the people on the Discord, which is, again, why you should be on the Discord, AAAdiscord.com, select 2 additional anime from a list. Caroline, would you like to give us the rundown?
Oh, I don't have it prepared. If you just give me one moment, I can bring it up.
You could just give the top 2 if you want, or if you want to
My
do the
Google
whole
Drive is very
number
Speaking of
3.
I got it.
Speaking of slow machines, Caroline's computer's rebooting.
All the robots, the soundboard, the computers, the internet, they're all against us today. And good, death to all robots.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay, so
no.
well, here are the options that we came up with. The shows that we thought were not being reviewed that people have been talking about a lot lately. We got Blue-Eyed Samurai, Bang Dream, It's My Go, Birdie Wing Season 2, Scott Pilgrim, Link Click, Jobless Reincarnation Season
Stupid
2,
title.
and because Mitsuki really wanted it there, Riding Bean, which
Goddamn
got
right.
1 vote.
There's not
Riding
a
Bean
single
got
character in any of these fucking shows cooler than Bean Bandit.
Well, far and away, the winner of this poll was Scott Pilgrim. So we will be reviewing Scott Pilgrim. But you guys made it so freaking tough because you could not decide between Bang Dream, It's My Go, and Birdie Wing Season 2. So I brought it to the Discord instead of our Google form. And I'm like, okay, now's your time. Choose between Birdie Wing Season 2 and Bang Dream. And you guys still couldn't come through. It still was neck and neck with
You
like
guys are
a
losers.
vote to divide it. And I'm like, that's too close. I want a clear winner.
Yeah.
So we had to make an executive decision. And
Caroline laid the
Mason
law.
will be out. Mason will be out for the review. So Mitz and I had to figure it out. What we would be rather, Bang Dream or Birdie Wing. And we decided to go with Birdie Wing.
There's absolutely no way that I want to watch another fucking Idol anime.
Yeah.
Or
I
another
wasn't
rock
exactly
star group.
keen. And even though we did shit on Birdie Wing quite a bit, it was pretty fun to make fun of. And the people on Discord insist that Season 2 is better than Season 1. So apparently we'll be reviewing that next week.
The reviews
Looks like
on
Venus. Looks like Venus Wing is back on the menu, boys.
the
No, it was Penis Line.
Yeah, Venus Line.
Venus Line.
God. The reviews online would disagree. They have pretty much the same score. So
Oh yeah,
Which is never a good sign because sequels normally score better because all the fans of the first season stuck around and probably already like it. So, hey, it was beautiful having no skin in this game, just being able to be like, I've already seen Scott Pilgrim. I'm not going to watch the other show. Let chaos reign. So,
Listen,
thank you guys.
constant tying was really pissing me off though. I'm like, Jesus, just pick something.
I just I did my best for you guys. I tried to sneak a 50-minute anime into there.
We know, Mitch, but it had
but-
no chance.
I don't understand why though.
Because nobody watched Riding Bean, but everybody was watching these other ones.
Why? Yeah, because Riding Bean's like 20 years old. But why? And what is the deal with Scott Pilgrim? It popped up in that fucking movie with what's his face in it like 100 years ago, and I've never once Michael Cera. I've never once given a rat's ass, and it just won't go away.
I've never seen Scott Pilgrim anything. So.
Why does
It's going
this?
to be so funny hearing you guys try to make heads and tails of what's going on in the show without the movie knowledge.
Oh, great! I'm probably gonna hate it.
You probably will. Well, wait. When is Mitz out?
Mitz is gonna be out on the 17th and the 24th.
Yeah, so the 17th is when we're doing Scott Pilgrim, so you're fine. You dodged it.
Oh, well, I gotta check my
I get
calendar.
the joy of doing both.
Yeah,
I gotta
Caroline
check
will
my
be here for both.
calendar.
I'll be here for Scott Pilgrim. Mitz will be here for Birdie Wing. All is right in the world. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Let's hit it.
おー、大ニュースです。It's time for big news of the week.
I lied. One more thing.
Oh,
Secret Santa. Secret Santa deadline is December 8th. So if you want to be a part of Secret Santa on our Discord this year, go ahead to the Secret Santa chat and submit your entry form with all the stuff that's in the pinned notes. Very easy to follow.
It's not hard to do. It's fun.
And then by the 13th, we should have our matches ready to go. Hopefully.
oh, one more thing. MF Ghost still ahead of Overtake on online. You guys are gonna lose this bet, and it's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be great, and I appreciate you all. Big news of the week, guys. So my big news of the week is Godzilla -1 is out, and I'm gonna go see it next week. This movie is apparently really fucking good. It has an 8.5 on IMDb, which is like, has got to put it in like the top 20 movies of all time on here. Yeah, I gotta find the list, but it has a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 98% from the audience, which is kind of rare. Usually it's like they're never lined up. And Godzilla is back to being a villain in this movie. So post-war Japan, Japan's all destroyed because of the war. And just when they're at their lowest, Godzilla comes in to kick the shit out of Japan some more, is basically how this goes. So, baptized in the horrific power of the atomic bomb, the description says, because that's how Godzilla was created, through radiation. So it's a Japanese movie. People on Discord were like marveling at the $15 million budget. I'm like, yeah, because it's a fucking Japanese movie. It's not... we're not doing $200 million of marketing like we do in the United States for it. So, but the movie already broke even in 1 week. And do you guys have any plans on seeing this? Because it looks damn awesome. I watched the trailer.
I actually didn't really know about it, and because I went to the movies last night and I saw like one of the posters on the wall. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know there was another Godzilla movie coming out, and that's all of my notice of it, really.
Yeah, I really didn't know about it, but you could, Mitz, make it a double feature and watch Godzilla and The Boy and the Heron back to back.
Ooh.
You could do a Godzilla Ghibli double feature. Now, of course,
I'm old.
You being old as dirt, you could not even manage that. But you load your boy up with enough popcorn and just keep on chomping away. Go for it.
I can eat a lot of popcorn. I'm not gonna lie to you. So,
well, how long is Godzilla? Like 2 hours?
2 hours and 4 minutes.
And how long is The Boy and the Heron? Probably about the same. So, yeah,
I'd imagine
4 hours.
And a half, right? Hour 45?
I don't know.
The best part about this Godzilla movie is that it contains no Millie Bobby Brown.
What? How much Kong? How much big primates are in it?
To my knowledge, none. Listen,
okay.
Listen,
good.
Godzilla embarrassed.
The Boy and the Heron is 2 hours 4 minutes.
They're the same exact length. That's amazing.
You can watch them at the same time. Just put one screen above the other. That's a double feature.
Someone in the Rainbow Warrior on Twitch asked me what my issue is with Millie Bobby Brown. Well, she can't act at all. She's terrible. So there's one thing. So she barely says anything in movies. So yeah, this is gonna be pretty sweet. Honestly, I'm not surprised neither of you had heard of it. I hadn't either, because shocker, there's like no marketing done. So back to the $15 million budget. Not a whole lot of marketing here for this, and so you don't really hear about it. And it only made $34 million the first week. I think they're probably going to rely on word of mouth to make that spread. But with a $15 million budget, they're already ahead at this point. So it sounds pretty good. But yeah, I'm glad Godzilla's back to being a villain. I'm glad it's back to the roots. That's how like the old Godzilla movies were. Was that with Godzilla attacking Tokyo?
What's your favorite Godzilla film? Like, could you pick one out?
No,
and do you think?
Probably not.
Because I'm curious to see if this one will, compare. Because I love Shin Godzilla, a very non-Godzilla Godzilla movie, and not just because it's done by Anno, but I think that's an awesome one. So I'd be curious. Like, that's the high bar for me.
I've seen most of them.
Jeff Goldblum.
I don't think Godzilla movies are generally very good. They're just popcorn action movies for the most part. The really bad one is the one that had that one actor in it, where Godzilla was like an iguana and it laid eggs and shit. Remember that? That fucking movie was terrible.
I don't.
Let me see if I can find it. It had a famous actor in it. I can't remember what his name is, but yeah. I'm not really 100% sure. Matthew Broderick. The really terrible one is Godzilla from the one from 1998.
Yeah, 2000 whatever, with Jeff Goldblum.
Did it have Jeff Goldblum in it as well?
I think so. I don't know. Doesn't matter.
No, I don't think so. This one just had Matthew Broderick in it for some unknown reason. So anyway, that's about it. I'm gonna go see this. I'll talk about it next week. But yeah, I'm pretty excited. Happy it's going back to its roots. There's no King Kong. There's no, to my knowledge, there's no other monsters. You know, and we'll see. We'll see how they manage to drive King Kong, you know, away from Japan. I can't remember how it happened originally, but we're gonna be swinging subway cars around like nunchucks, people. All right, Caroline, what do you got?
Sounds like fun. I have nothing. I was not interested in any of the news this week.
Oh, come on.
What can I say? You do it all the time.
No,
I
I
have
don't.
been pulling my weight around here. Sorry if I take 1 week off from news reporting.
You know, I was surrounded by the suck.
Oh, poor Caroline.
Are you saying that I suck?
Yes. We love you, Caroline. We're just teasing you, Greg. Mason, you're up.
Yeah, sure.
I think I was just thinking that he was in Godzilla, but I think I'm just thinking Jurassic Park. I think I'm just thinking big dinosaurs. Go with Jeff Goldblum. Anyway,
Well, he
my
definitely
big
wasn't.
news-
He was definitely. I'm gonna look this up. He was
He was definitely in Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
I know
definitely.
that for sure. Questionable about Godzilla. Little baby Mason mind is mixing the two together. My big news is actually anime related, and that is an inevitable but welcome announcement. Don will be getting anime in 2024. Hooray! We all knew it was coming. Don is super fun. It's very engaging. It's a like paranormal battle shonen for fans of Chainsaw Man, Mob Psycho, and Dorohedoro. It's just kind of goofy, off the wall. It's a good time. And Science Saru will be doing it. So fun studio. Not too much more than that. The director will be Fuga Yamashiro, who did Tatami Time Blues as an assistant director. But the big news, of course, if you know me, the music will be done by Kensuke Ushio, who is just easily my top. Let's go top three composers working today in anime. His Ping Pong the Animation, Liz and the Bluebird, Chainsaw Man, Devilman Crybaby, just a ton of bangers and just really eclectic and so fitting for everything he does. So it's off to a very promising start. We'll definitely have it high on my anticipated list for next year. So Don, keep your eyes peeled, and we'll definitely be talking about it later. So that's all I got.
It's your favorite. It's Science Saru.
I love Science Saru. No, Yuasa, but I like what they can do, and it seems like a good mix. It's a very wacky, goofy source material manga. I've read quite a bit of it, but it's pretty new, so it's not like there's a lot to go on. So we will see, but I think it'll be a fun time.
All right. Well, it's time for our main topic. Again, I feel bad that Pancake's not here because this was, well, I suggested it, but it was really her idea. She's the one that loves robots, so. And best anime robots. There's a whole lot of them. So there is certainly a lot of you know, I can be seen on a Sunday scrolling through the 800 anime I've seen and just like trying to remember, is there a robot in this? Scrolling through this long fucking list. It's not always easy. But I want to lead off with a recent robot that's very important to all of us. And that is Kyoka Kudo from My Happy Marriage. That motherfucker was
I'm detecting a lot of
robot
sass
in
on
that?
this list.
That motherfucker was he was a robot.
Oh, I understand what you mean.
Yeah,
now.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. he did everything except walk like a robot and talk like he did talk like a robot kinda. Anyway. Okay, just kidding. So leading off, going back to the classics, sort of, I guess. Nuku, all-purpose cultural cat girl Nuku, who you know, is a darling of anybody who was watching anime back in like 1993 or whatever when this shit came out. And I imagine not a lot of people have seen Nuku, but there's 2 seasons, Nuku and Nuku Dash, and I believe the backstory, if I recall correctly, because you know how you always remember things better that happened when you were a kid, and then when you're older, something will happen like 5 minutes ago, and you're like, what? I haven't seen this anime in 25 years, but as I recall, the little boy's family, their cat gets hit by a car. Have you guys seen, Caroline, have you seen Nuku?
No. And I will just spoil it right now. I have not seen 90% of these shows that you are about to talk about.
Mason, have you seen Nuku?
I have not, but I
Oh
can
my
guarantee.
god, I did it.
I
did
can
it.
guarantee that if Mitsugi saw, oh, let's look at fall anime for 2023, and the title came up with all-purpose cultural cat girl Nuku Nuku, you would shit on that thing to high heaven.
I'm just reveling in the fact that I have an anime here that I have seen that you have not seen.
I feel
And I
like
feel-
there's a couple of those.
and I feel
but
very
congrats.
special.
You should,
Eh,
Mitz.
Anyway, so
Is this good? Is it worth watching?
by the way,
That's
never
a different question.
no, definitely not.
Okay.
It's stupid. I mean, some people might like it. It's episodic. I mean, if you fall in love with Nuku Nuku, if you're a cat girl fan. So basically, what happens is the cat gets run over by a car, and the dad, who's like a mad scientist, takes the cat back inside and transplants its brain into a cyborg that he's been building. So Nuku Nuku is like a robot with a cat brain. So she acts like a cat sometimes, and of course is much to the delight of cat girl lovers everywhere, of which I am one. So, and she just runs around and like fights crime and takes on rival mad scientists and stuff like that, and fights their robots. And it's a little Mega Man like, she like is a robot from the good guy, and then she goes out and fights other robots that the bad guy makes. But she's just cute. Nuku Nuku's cute. So yeah, there's Nuku Nuku and Nuku Nuku Dash, and then apparently another one came out in 1998 called All-Purpose Cultural Cat Girl Nuku Nuku TV. So there's actually 3 series of this, which is a lot.
They really had to brainstorm that title.
Yeah, well, it had the brain of a cat, literally. So this anime is pretty dumb, but I mean, some people will have fun with it. And yes, cat girls are the best, and if anybody wants to argue against that, come fight me. Bring it on. Caroline.
But robot cat girls.
Well, don't even.
Yeah.
Come on. New
Come
levels.
on.
New fetish unlocked.
Meep, no fetish unlock. I can only get so erect.
What do you got, Caroline?
You guys are gross today. Anyway, so when you guys mentioned let's talk about best anime robots, I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? I sat down at my computer today.
It's
and I'm
robots.
I could not think of a single anime robot that I've seen. I could think of some mecha shows, but that's not like, we're talking about robots. They're kind of like sentient. Mechas are not usually very sentient. And any robots that I could think of, I have not seen the show. So I just suddenly realized that I could barely even participate in today's topic.
Oh, you're gonna do fine. Just make
Look
random
at my
smartest.
list, Mitts.
Just make
This
random
is something I
smartest.
literally came up with it 2 seconds ago. The only thing on my list here. What were you gonna say?
Well, now you know how it feels when we do the "What Are You Watching" segment. And I only have like one thing, and then it's all
but
you
can
guys.
Help that. You can watch something leading up to that.
Just make smart-ass comments. It's perfect. It's all you were born for this. You got this.
I don't know. It's really hard to comment on things that I've never seen. But anyway, the only anime robot that I could think of on the fly was Carrot Bread from Humanity Has Declined. So, Humanity Has Declined is a not very popular show, but it's like a very strange, surrealist, comedic, dark show, I guess. It's very, I can't describe it, but I do recommend it. And basically, they go to this factory where they're making bread, but they're making bread that is made out of carrots because kids are not eating their vegetables. And they have this little animatronic piece of bread, and they're like very friendly robot bread. And, he's showing them around. He's, very pleasant. And he's like, do you want to try the bread? And the girl's like, no, I'm actually not very hungry. I'm good. And then he's like, no, I'm a freshly baked loaf of bread. And he pulls himself apart. And because he's made out of carrot juice, starts gushing out blood. That's actually carrot juice, but it looks
so
like blood.
metal.
It splatters her face. And it's gross. And it's so weird. But it's awesome.
Glazed
and
like
that
a
was
donut.
the best. That was the best robot I could think of. It was carrot bread.
Not bad. I haven't seen that, but all I think of is that really angry carrot from fuck was that game called?
I don't know.
Undertale?
No, the fucking oh my god, that really
Angry
hard
Carrot?
game that had the devil and the and the Cuphead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's an angry carrot in that game.
Now, even though people probably haven't really seen Humanity Has Declined and don't know what carrot bread is, the meme of carrot bread you might have seen. Just like a weird loaf of bread tearing itself apart. I recommend you look it up because it is something that you should see.
Okay. I would like to see it. Mason,
Well, go ahead then. Look it up.
what do you got?
Do it. Yeah, so I kind of split my list of robots into robots that were good because of the fact that they were a robot. For example, like a Tachikoma from Ghost in the Shell.
Nice.
And robots that were good because they just happened to be a robot in a good show that deals with robots, like Major Kusanagi from Ghost in the Shell. So there's kind of two, traits of what I am thinking of when I think of robots. But like Mitz going back in time, my first one has to be one of the OG robots, which is Doraemon. This thing came out in the 60s, and it's still pumping out content today. As we all know, Doraemon is the blue, earless robot cat that gets into all sorts of shenanigans and just is a cultural icon. I mean,
He's a beast.
it has been determined as the first quote-unquote anime ambassador designated by Japan's foreign ministry. This is the equivalent of Mickey Mouse in a way. If you were in American media, what are some of the biggest names in just animal mascots? And you have Winnie the Pooh, you have Mickey Mouse. That's what Doraemon is in Japan for robots. He's just a legacy. He's an icon. He's just super cool. He has the pouch. You never know what he's going to pull out of it. And he's a fun time. So you can't not give respect to him. And he's just really cool. So that's my first one.
How many Doraemon movies are there? 50? I'm gonna look
I
it
don't know
up.
if they've hit 50. I've seen maybe 3 or 4 of them. I haven't watched the show. I've just seen movies. And there's some amazing pieces of work. Nobito's New Dinosaur, whatever it's called, came out a couple years back. Just some phenomenal animation cuts. This is one of those powerhouses that just gets so many talented people to work on it and just have a bunch of money to just flex. It's not a Ghibli kind of look, but it just is gorgeous. So check it out. He's
45.
He's awesome.
45 movies.
Yeah, we're almost there.
It's kind of a lot, no big deal. Okay, so next up, I gotta go. Well, MD Geist, he's not really a robot, but he is a killing machine. But if you've seen MD Geist, you'll know that he does unleash the Death Force, which is an army of machines and insect machines that wipe out humanity. So in honor of all of the robot insects from MD Geist, I'm going with that because
Okay.
I don't know. Why not? Well, I mean, why did Geist even want to activate the Death Force?
It's your list. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, I do whatever I want, I mean, honestly, if you haven't seen MD Geist, just to watch the sheer inexplicable just rationale behind why Geist would want to unleash the Death Force that will kill everybody, including him, I have no fucking clue, but he just wanted to wipe out humanity. Perhaps it was because they froze him in that orbital satellite because he was too dangerous. Nay, the most dangerous, but it's probably
You don't question Geist and his decisions.
well, yeah. I mean, honestly, the reason why he's angry isn't because they locked him in the orbital satellite. It's because they locked him in the orbital satellite, butt naked. Do you have any idea how cold outer space is?
That's harsh. That's really rude.
Yeah, I mean, come on. He must have had just goosebumps for years, just freezing his. I mean, listen. If a man has shrinkage for a full, we'll say 5 years, and all he sees is that, he will eventually come to believe that is reality. And that's a hard psychological thing to deal with. It's going to take years of therapy to recover. MD Geist makes the list. Respect, brother. You destroy humanity for what they did to you.
Mitsuki, in space, nobody can hear you peen.
That's right. Is it
Well,
cold in here?
speaking of doing whatever the heck you want with your lists, as you and Mason said just minutes ago,
Yeah, do it.
I added something to my list, and you said you do whatever you want to your list,
Yeah.
and I took that seriously.
I took it personally.
Because when we first mentioned best anime robots, the first robot to come to mind was not from an anime at all. It was from the hit Disney Channel show Phineas and Ferb. Norm, the robot. One of the best robots in history, you know?
Well,
What a cool...
that it
Okay,
is.
so this robot was created by Dr. Doofenshmirtz. Norm, the robot, thinks that Doofenshmirtz is his father, so he calls him, "Hey, Dad," and he has this whole song about how much he he has a rap about how much he wants his dad to love and accept him. He's like, "I want a dad," and he has a great voice. He has a whole song about weaponry. There's a lot of great songs in Phineas and Ferb, and Norm has quite a few of them. Love Norm every single time he's on screen. So that's where he's the best anime robot, even if he's not anime.
I thought we were going to get a Broadway style musical number here for a second. What happened to that?
Honestly, I need to learn the songs first. I know parts of them, but yeah. You guys said do whatever you want.
I can't vouch for this pick, but considering that he is a rapping robot, I'm jealous I didn't pick him. So
That's true.
I just want to participate.
no, we love it. Keep it going. Keep it coming.
The only other rapping robot I can think of is from Chrono Trigger. It's at the...
Where is he on this list?
Mason's looking around like he's trying to remember.
I don't remember it.
It's at Len's Festival at the beginning of the game when you do all the carnival games, and he's the robot you beat up, and he sings a song. I know the song, and then if you beat him up, he'll give you like 5 credits to go play with at the carnival.
Okay.
Come on, bro. I'm gonna look this up and send you a link.
Do it.
What do you got, Mason?
Do it. Next up is 2B, also A2 from Nier Automata.
Oh my
This
god,
is
yes.
obviously from the 2017 video game, and now technically a 2023 anime, so I can talk about it here. These are probably some of the best character designs, if you know what I'm saying. No, these are just pivotal characters, pivotal foundations in telling one of the most robot, android, machine learning, etc. stories in recent memory. It uses the game medium to push the player into new territories, opening their minds to grappling with philosophical hurdles that are well posed by having robots and androids be the main character. This whole game is designed around the Japanese word of agaku, which is to struggle out of a bad situation, and it just keeps on crushing your emotional walls.
Yeah.
And these characters perfectly tread the line between these cold, dry, emotionless husks, but also like gaining what we might consider a sort of humanity. Did I mention they're really hot?
Oh, they're
so
yeah.
These characters were designed explicitly
so horny.
so that the guy who made them could see more fan art of them.
Oh, and there's
it's awesome.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I love them both. They're phenomenal characters in a fantastic game, and I haven't followed up on the anime. I know there were some delays, and I haven't kind of dropped off of it since, but it's a rad experience, and they're awesome. And I love 9S. I love everyone in that game, but they're good.
Oh,
robots.
9S is so good. I have Nier Replicant. I haven't played it yet. I have it. I've just been so delayed by just being utterly and strangely just sucked into Resident Evil. So
Resident Evil, Sakuna, whatever you're playing.
It's so bad.
Busy boy.
I'm literally watching people play Resident Evil 4 on YouTube at work because I'm so addicted to that shit. That's how bad that is.
I love it. Who do you got next on your list?
Well, first of all, from Chrono Trigger, his name, they call me Gato. I have metal joints. If you can beat me up, you'll earn 15 silver points. That's the rhyme. I sent a picture into our group chat.
I could have sworn you were going to say, my name is Gato. If you beat me, I won't say arigato. Like some kind of...
Oh, boy.
That would have been... That's what I was expecting. That's what I was bracing for.
Where's the boo drop?
Oh my goodness. Our chat is just full of
a travesty.
Robot raps.
All right. The next one on the list is... I'm just getting all the silly ones out of the way first. The handlebar laser breathing topless chick from Goku Midnight Eye. Yeah. It just needs to happen. Honestly, if you guys haven't seen Goku Midnight Eye, you really should. It's pretty good. But there's a scene in there where like this little robot dude, like this hot android chick who's like shooting lasers at the main character, starts running around on all fours, and this little tiny robot guy jumps on her back and grabs the handlebars and starts driving her like a fucking car. And she's like stark naked, running around on all fours, shooting lasers out of her mouth. You are never gonna see this shit in any other fucking anime. You have to go into like the abandoned coal mine of 1987 to fucking find this kind of shit. Nowadays, it's all just pretty boys with swords and stuff. If you want handlebar, laser breath breathing, topless android chicks, you got to go watch Goku Midnight Eye. Have either of you guys seen this?
Of course.
No.
You're not going to pull it over on me twice in one episode.
Oh, and what are
You
your
can pull
thoughts on the
over me
topless?
several times in this episode.
What are your thoughts on the topless robot girl, Mason?
I mean, her specifically, kind of scary. Could do without, not quite what I'm looking for in my robots, but certainly intense, unique. It's an experience. I'll give it that.
I got the picture. Here it is. This is for Caroline mostly. There's no titties in this picture, but he is riding on her and she is shooting lasers out of her mouth. There you go.
Oh, wow.
I will say I have not seen the sequel OVA. I've only seen the first one.
There's a sequel? Yeah, there's 2 episodes.
Yeah, I've only seen the first episode.
Yeah, they're both good. So
they're both a thing. Yep.
Yep, there it is. Once you see it, you can't forget. I'll put it on the Twitch while Caroline gives her next pick. She's coming up with them on the fly. It's pretty impressive.
No, Mason sent me a link, a list of anime robots, and said, "Here, in case you want to take a look."
Oh,
and I can't
just
believe
don't go to CBR.
I can't believe I didn't think of this one. Reg from Made in Abyss.
Oh, yeah,
maybe
of
it's
course.
because he's not. Maybe it's because he doesn't really act like a robot. He just has, a robot body. But he's such a cute little boy. I love Weg. He's a good robot.
Is that
Greg
the guy?
is hashtag our boy.
Mm-hmm.
Is he the one that cuts off the girl's arm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he tried. He doesn't succeed.
Tried his best.
He just breaks it a lot.
That's even worse.
Well, have you ever tried to cut off somebody's arm?
No, but I saw someone try to do it in the movie Saw once. They usually don't succeed.
No, so can't blame him.
Well, he didn't
Yeah.
succeed either, so, on track.
Here comes the girl. Here comes the robot girl on Twitch for you guys. There you go. People are like, I gotta watch this shit. It's on Retro Crush. Okay, you can go watch it for free. Pretty good stuff.
Let's also mention that poor Reg is always just sexually molested a lot in this show, which is crazy. You wouldn't think that, but they certainly have a lot of interest in how his parts work. If I should say that.
He's a robot. It's an engineering marvel. That's all.
But he's just a boy.
Maybe. I don't know.
Innocence
there's such a
lost.
mystery behind him that I don't
know.
I don't really associate him with a robot. But yeah, I get you.
Exactly, and that's why I didn't think of him. But he was on that list. And I'm like, darn it, has to be here. So, Mason, go ahead.
Next up, I have to give props to probably the funniest robot on the list, which is Tama from Gintama. The Tama in Gintama is not from her name. It's just a coincidence. And Tama is not funny in the fact that she cracks jokes or is a goofball, but just the show makes full use of her being a robot for its comedy. And you never know what she'll be doing. One moment she's just guzzling down oil from a can. One time she'll just be existing as a head who just gets pushed into like a game console and they play the video game to level her up and give her new fighting abilities. Sometimes she gets a computer virus and an entire episode appears as a 2D 16-bit sprite while all the other characters appear normal. It's just always bonkers. It's a show that uses a robot to the full extent of just being silly for gags, and for that, gotta give Tama props. She's a bunch of fun and just is usually wailing away on our main characters when they get annoying. So she's a much needed kind of straight man in their just buffoonery of a situation. So that's all I got for her.
So I've checked my movie theater, and I can confirm that they do have Goku -1, but they do not have the Boy and the Heron. So
You mean Godzilla -1?
what did I say?
Goku. you got you got handlebar chicks on the mind.
Who doesn't? Okay.
Exactly.
I mean, for Caroline's sake, we'll move on. The handlebar joke is low hanging fruit for most people. Next up on the list is Mahoro from Mahoro-matic. Another throwback to like 2000 or something. Maybe a little bit. You know what? Actually, Mahoro-matic, man, I don't know. This is like one of those shows that Mahoro is basically an android that gets retired because she's a fighter, like a robot that was in war a lot. And she only has like 2 years left of her life, or a year or something. And then, this is so anime. And so, rather than go travel or do whatever people do when they only have a year to live, she decides she's going to become a maid and serve this like little snotty ass like teenage boy. So that's what I want to do with the last year of my life, is fucking be a maid. But yeah, that's what she does. And then they proceed to count down the days remaining of her life every episode at the end until it starts getting close, and then they start to get the drama about like, oh no, she's gonna die and all this. It's kind of like this has been done a lot. I mean, it's not exactly a unique concept, but Mahoro is cute. She's a pretty decent character. She's just, I don't know, her anime itself isn't really all that good, but I think Mahoro is a pretty decent character, and that show's got some okay fight scenes in it and stuff, and gets a little angsty, you know, when the Mason, have you seen Mahoro-matic?
I have not.
Oh!
I've not seen that, and I've not seen
my
Cheese
God!
Sweet Home, which I was expecting you to put on the list.
You were expecting what?
Chi.
Oh, from Chobits?
Yeah, from Chobits, yeah.
Oh, well, that just opens up too many doors.
Yeah.
Caroline isn't ready for that.
She's not braced for impact.
Caroline, do you know where Cheese on Switch is?
Probably in her vagina.
It is. That's where it is.
Man,
I think I've heard about this. Yeah.
Caroline could write anime. But yeah, you've definitely heard about it.
I really could.
And that anime is not even really all that perverted. It was just there. They just put that in there for no reason, just because they could.
For funsies. Just like,
and he sticks his hands.
We need to do something new here. What if we put the on switch in her vagina?
Well, the next one I'm going to talk about will have something kind of similar. But do you have another one, Caroline?
No, I'm fresh out.
Okay, well, I'll jump to this one then because it's quick. But this is Alpha from Yokohama Shopping Log, and kind of like Chobits, but even more so. Yokohama Shopping Log is the most calming, tranquility distilled slice of life OVAs about the future where the city of Yokohama has been flooded by global warming, and our robot main character A7M2, aka Alpha, runs a cafe that no one goes to. She just sits there all day, is super calm, super peaceful, just drinks all the coffee herself, reads, and just is the most chill thing ever. And everyone loves her because she's just the most precious thing ever. And each episode, though there's only a couple, really just goes through her daily life, going to Yokohama for supplies, brewing coffee for visitors, taking photographs, and there's it's just so peaceful and serene. And for some reason, early in the first episode, another robot comes in and they need to transfer memories. They need to share data or whatever. And they do it by kissing. And so Alpha just has to kiss this other character for a little bit.
Of course.
And you're just did that really need to happen? But besides that, no fan service. It's just super cool. Alpha is just a lovable goof who just feels solitude in this unsettling demise of the world. And Very peaceful, very serene. Would recommend it if you like that kind of show, and you'll love Alpha. I guarantee it.
I don't think that was nearly as risque.
No, it's not as risque, but it's kind of weird where she's just like, I don't have enough space in my memory, and the person's like, well, we can just do it that way. Let me see your tongue. Lol, 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 lol.
What? That is bizarre.
It's not quite like that. They just do a little kiss, but you're like, this feels very fan servicey. But
maybe it was.
Anyway.
All right. Next up is Android 16. You know, I could have gone Android 17. Android 17. No one likes him. Android 18. People love, but it's too obvious. Android 8. There's a lot of androids in Dragon Ball. Android 19 and 20. Meh. You know, they're okay, I guess. But the unsung hero is Android 16. He's such a good boy. You know, what did he do? He loves birds. He fights Cell all by himself. Imperfect Cell. He's the impetus of Gohan losing his shit and nearly killing Cell like right off the bat because Cell kills him and very mercilessly. And he's a good old boy with his big orange mohawk. And he's kind of like the robots from Castle in the Sky. They're always walking around with their birds and shit and being like extra gentle to animals. And then there's Android 16 doing the same thing. He's just a good old robot.
Those are good robots.
He's a good robot, and he's got a bomb inside him. So you don't want to fuck with him too much, but man. You know who else had a badass moment in the Cell Saga was Tien Shenhan. I don't know how familiar you are, Mason, with the Cell Saga. But like that scene when Tien is like using his tri-beam to hold Cell down inside that like pit so that they could buy like 30 seconds, and then he literally just dies afterwards because he's so exhausted.
Yeah, he does that a lot. But he doesn't die in a lame way like Yamcha. He's a cool death
Yeah, he's
character.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're just saying that because he's bald, but he is cool.
Well, if Tien had hair, that would be weird. Yeah. Anyway,
it would just be like, it would just get in the way more than anyone else.
Android 16 is cool, but yeah, there's a ton of robots in Dragon Ball. I mean, something like almost half the fucking main characters are like robots. It's crazy. So there's a whole bunch of them. So Caroline just keeps adding more. This isn't even anime.
Okay, well, technically not an anime, and also technically not a robot.
What?
But
how is it on this? What?
Because
my favorite
Karen,
robot,
Plankton's computer wife from SpongeBob SquarePants.
My favorite robot is Barney. Barney the dinosaur. Not even.
I mean, yeah, you could say she's
like
a robot, but she's always referred to as a computer. And only in the later seasons, which aren't as good, she gets like a movable body. But yeah, so I'll say that she's a robot. Is Karen. She's best girl in SpongeBob. Like,
she's a squirrel.
She's not the squirrel. She's
That's
the robot.
Sandy. That's
she's
Sandy.
the computer wife. But she's also the most competent person in the entire show.
Well, that's not saying much.
She just takes no shit from Plankton. She serves him holographic meatloaf for dinner, and she won't like hear any him bad mouthing it.
My God,
I love Karen.
What is happening?
You picked the topic that I was not good with.
Mitz is just confused that a Karen can be a good character and a good person, and not a typical Karen.
Yeah,
that's what he's upset about.
Yeah,
I am just trying to
Cap.
participate. I am doing my best.
You like that? You like that new age lingo I'm throwing around? Come on.
My goodness, my guy, you are busting out the wazoo.
Oh yeah, you can teach old dogs new tricks.
Let's see. I'll just do two more. Let's go back to the Nier Automata Pluto-esque selection, and that is Kasern from Kasern Sins. This is similar to Pluto. This is a remake from the classic series, but it bucks continuity to tell its own story, and it's a far more depressing one. But in Kasern Sins, it takes place in a world where robots have subjugated humans. They are ruling the world. They are absolutely just nuking and destroying and killing anyone who dares even have the possibility of opposing them. And eventually this event happens called the Ruin, where this poisonous gas covers the entire planet. Humans can't reproduce. Robots are rusting and dying out. Like, everyone is having a bad time. And Kashurn, who has probably done some bad things in his past, similar to Gazit, kind of has his memories erased, and everyone is out to kill him because I guess eating Kashurn, just eating this robot, will grant you eternal life.
Eating
And
a
so
robot?
everyone's out to kill him. He's trying to like detective his way, find the truth, find out what he's done. And this entire series is cool. It's stylish. It's full of nostalgia. And although it probably runs a little too long and slow, it's a very unique, very interesting series. I'm probably in a dire need of rewatch of it because some of it is just kind of escaping me right now. But super fun series. If you like robots, if you like Pluto, definitely check out Kashurn Sins. It's a unique time.
I feel like I missed out on Kashurn Sins.
It's neat. It looks cool. Some big old bug eyes and some long episodes, but it's a good time.
Okay. All right. I think this is going to be my last one. I put some fantastic images of the robot girl from Goku Midnight Eye in the Discord. She's like doing some crazy shit in the second picture. You can see the handlebars really well. The handlebars even have brakes. I want to know how that works.
That's safety.
It's safety, but like, how does that work though?
I don't know. Well, the thing is, so
Does
there's
she
a
have,
brake
like-
on the right side and the left side. And if you've ever ridden a bike, they control which, if they control the front brakes or the back brakes.
Yeah, but does
So
she
like
have...
if you hold one side, does her leg stop moving and the other side, her arm stop moving?
Probably, but does she have rotors or like, how does that work?
I don't know. It's
I'm
probably
confused.
just connected to her veins and blood flow
I'm
stops.
fucking confused. Next up, man, it's so tough. I'm gonna have to go with the grandpa from Inuyashiki. I can't even remember what his fucking name is.
Inu
Is
Yoshiki.
he even a robot?
Oh, he definitely
Yeah,
is.
he's a robot,
Oh,
right?
Like, I think he's a human that just got
He
like,
turns into
planted with parts?
the aliens abduct him or whatever, and he becomes a full ass robot.
Nah, he's a cyborg, my dude.
Whatever.
That's different.
What?
Don't tell
He's
me
a
about
robot.
it.
He's a good robot who
He is.
complete with like missiles coming out of his chest and all this crap. So let's see. He looks blah blah blah. His family. A meteor strikes him down, and he is transformed into a cyborg. He chooses to save people with his new abilities because he didn't want to lose his humanity. How can you possibly be better than that?
He's good. I love the scene where he's just like, I have all these weapons and I didn't know they were there, and he just like keeps on like spidering out with all these extra limbs of rockets and stuff. It's yeah, it was a fun show.
It was definitely bizarre. I liked it because it was just different, but very weird. Some very weird shit going on. And speaking of weird, I can't wait to get back to... Do I dare ask Caroline for her next pick? She's like, we're going into the deep lore of the Teletubbies, the secret...
The sun itself.
I have an
Robot.
actual anime
Wait,
this
wasn't there
time.
a vacuum cleaner in the Teletubbies?
Yeah.
Wasn't that a robot?
We're going brave little toaster, okay? We're going
Oh
with
my
the,
gosh.
We're
How
going
did I
with the
forget?
lamp.
Thomas the
Blanky.
Tank Engine.
It's Blanky.
Yeah, it's
Thomas!
Blanky. Oh
Why
my
didn't I think
gosh.
of Thomas the Tank?
I don't know.
Yeah, so I have one from an actual anime that I thought of. Robot? I don't know. It's Hermes from Kino's Journey.
It's
the
a
talking
motorcycle.
Yes. So he is made out of mechanical parts. He is not an actual person.
Okay, all right.
That's one thing.
Okay.
He talks. He's sentient. Therefore, he must be a robot.
You can almost spell robot with the word motorod.
Court is in
Yes.
session. Mason, do we allow this claiming of a motorcycle to be a
I
robot?
mean, where do you draw the line? If you're going cyborg's okay, I feel like a motorrad's not too far different.
All right, one's on Discord, or one's on the Twitch for allow it. Two on the Twitch for not allow it. I
People on
say
the Twitch are not appreciating my picks today. Listen,
mean-
I'm doing my best.
Hermes is a good boy regardless, and we like
He's
him.
very Kino.
He's sassy. He's very Kino.
He's a sassy boy. He is a loyal boy. He never drives off on his own. Maybe he can't. You know, he's a goodie.
it's a little split, but so far they're saying they're going to allow it. They're allowing it. The Twitch has spoken.
I did it. I made it through.
There you go.
Stop
Okay.
it.
All right.
Did you have anything else about him, or you were just?
His headlights are so shiny.
They really are.
His fine leather.
He's super fast. Not that fast. But
Kills a lot of sheep.
Yeah. He's a goodie. No, I don't really have much else to say about him.
Okay. Well, then for my
It's been a
last
while
one,
since I've seen Kino.
I've got it. He's just off screen. He's barely poking it. Maybe I should move the camera. But it's Conti from Fooly Cooly, another icon and probably the most robot of the bunch. He doesn't really talk. He's very expressive though, with his body language and his screen to match the high octane characters of the series. But yeah, Conti is great. He just appears out of Naoto's head because of course you do, and he quickly develops some quirky interests, looking after cats, looking after weird buildings, and fulfills jobs for different shops, and just kind of scoots around the place and does his own thing. And he looks cool. He's got a TV for a head. What more do you need? And you know, every time the music, the little buster starts playing, he comes in, he transforms. Like, that's where you know the day is saved. Conti is the hero of us all. He's the god some of us worship, and he's just very just indescribable. And it's one of those things where you're like, oh, what anime did you watch? You're like, I don't know. It had that weird big robot that like kind of transformed, and he turned red when he was angry. He's got a TV for a head, and he's goofy, and he maybe kind of poops. I don't know. Do robots poop? Conti answers
Probably
all
not.
those questions. And he lets you know you're watching Fooly Cooly. So that's my last pick.
Just waiting for the little busters. Oh yeah.
I love the pillows. Ding. The guitar tone, so juicy.
Like I said.
All right.
Yeah, so that's a diverse list of some robots. Hopefully we didn't make you just start saying robots all the time, listener, but thank you.
Hopefully I didn't want to make you bang your head against the wall with my interesting picks. Is it time for the intro weekly trivia question?
Get her
think so.
done.
Now I have to figure out how the heck do we say this guy's name? I think that was a question, wasn't it? That what we were gonna
Gazette.
pronounce it is okay.
Gazette.
So let's give it a try.
Gazette.
Give it a try. What special alloy is Gajito? That's the only way I know.
Vegito?
That's how they pronounce it in Japanese. Gajito.
That's where I was struggling. So then I put on the dub just to hear how they say it, and they just say Gazette.
Gazette? Like a
Gazette.
zit?
It's
Like a pimple?
Gazette.
Gazette.
Gazette?
You
All
should have
right.
watched it in English. It was
Oh, I
good.
don't
Good.
like the dubbing.
Oh.
What special alloy is Gajikt made of in the anime Pluto? What alloy is he made of? That's the question. And we'll give you the answer after the news break.
Hey, all you anime addicts out there, Mitsuki's here bringing you your anime news break, starting off with some new anime adaptations. In 2024, Mabushi Kigaisha Magi Lumiere, or Magi Lumiere Magical Girls Inc., is going to be getting an anime adaptation. Some pretty good staff behind this, including voices Pharaoh's Eye from Chainsaw Man and Yumiri Hanamori of Jigoku Raku. Some of the staff is including some of the more prolific people from JC staff, so they're going to have some pretty experienced series composition, and Shingo Nagai of Uma Musume and Masahiro Hiraoka is going to be directing, who worked on Kakegurui previously. So if you're a big fan of this property, look out, because a profession that undertakes the work of exterminating a kind of natural disaster called Kana Katsuragi, a female college student struggles with job hunting and is picked up by a magical girl startup company to work as a real-life magical girl. So, not overly original, but it does look fun, and it has some good staff behind it, so look out for Magi Lumiere Magical Girls Inc. in 2024. Next up, Senki Zesho Symphogear, which hasn't been heard of in quite a while after having an endless number of seasons come out, is getting a movie. So the Symphogear website announced that this franchise is getting a movie, and it's going to be part of a new project that's being announced for the franchise, now titled Project Symphogear Next. This anime has so many seasons. It is, of course, the first season aired in 13 episodes in 2012, and it also had 4 other sequels in 2013, 15, 17, and 19. So we are overdue for more Senki Zesho Symphogear. Whether or not people actually want it, well, that remains to be seen. Next up, the Demon Slayer ride. The XR ride returns to Universal Studios Japan. So if you are ever in Japan and down in the Osaka area, you'll be able to go to Universal Studios Japan and also go to, yes, Super Mario World as well while you're there. On October 2022, Demon Slayer opened in the park around the time that the Mugen Train movie came out, and they're gearing up for the return of that extended reality Demon Slayer ride. Next up in the news, some of the big game awards for the PlayStation Partner Awards. Final Fantasy XVI, Resident Evil 4 Remake, and more receive awards, including Genshin Impact, Resident Evil 4, and Final Fantasy 16 all won grand awards, with other titles such as Armored Core 6, eFootball, Elden Ring, Crisis Core, Street Fighter 6, and Sonic Frontier getting some of the partner awards. So some of the hottest titles of the year getting awards this time around in the PlayStation Partner Awards. This was Mitsugi, and this was your anime news break. And now time to get back to the podcast. You've been waiting nearly 13 years, but the podcast has gone the distance. We have launched our podcast merchandise store, www.aashop.info. T-shirts, hoodies, mugs, stickers, and more, nearly at cost, because we want you to spread the word, not empty your pockets. So help spread the word that you're an anime addict and get yourself some Anime Addicts merch over at www.aashop.info. That's www.aashop.info. You've heard of Confessions of a Popedom, but now comes the heartwarming tale of Kazuo.
I don't know any country songs, so I'm trying to sing along to songs I don't know and getting drunk with some grandma.
From the best-selling authors of Her Moe Majesty and The Best Yuri Bartender in Florida comes Growing Up Kazuo.
First time I was in a shootout, 2 years old. South Bronx, going across the street in my baby stroller. My uncle was pushing me, and a shootout broke out in the middle of the street.
Be there through the formative years.
So I was 16, I think, and my family went on a cruise to the Bahamas. For some reason, they thought it was a good idea to give me and him, his name's Steve, our own room. These two young men, let's give them their own room. What trouble could they possibly get into? As we're walking onto the cruise ship for the first time, we're walking through the hallway. There's a door that's ajar, and I open it, and I look inside. It's like a janitorial closet, so there's brooms and mops and whatnot. And there's also a big bottle of whiskey just sitting in this janitorial closet. And I'm like, okay, mental note, close the door. So later on that night, we pick up the bottle of whiskey, get completely trashed. We're basically drunk the entire cruise.
Will a child's dreams come true?
It wasn't even an option growing up. It was a dream that a young poor boy had, that I was like, one day I'm gonna go to Japan. And it was like,
Are you gonna go to Japan?
and I was like, that's never gonna happen. That's not possible. At best, you will not end up in prison.
And tales of young love.
My first real kiss. We've all had when we were kids, you little peck, you're playing spin the bottle or something like that. But my first real sexual kiss, makeout session. and we end up, her and I make our way to her bedroom. So this is about to get super explicit. She's got him on one side, me on the other. Then have you ever heard of an Eiffel Tower?
Growing up, Kazuo. Flying off bookshelves everywhere. Order yours now on Amazon or by visiting www.aapodcast.com. Now, back to the show. Welcome back to the podcast. When we left you, we had in-show trivia. What special ally is, say it with me now, Gesicht, made of in the anime Pluto? Zeronium. That's right.
I think we might just call him the detective for the rest of the show.
And if you subscribe to the podcast over at aapodcast.com/join or Patreon, you're going to get our exclusive RSS feed. It's going to give you access to all of our exclusive content via your favorite mobile apps for podcasting. Podcast Addicts, Pocket Casts, Apple Podcast app, CastBox, Overcast FM, Downcast, etc. It's all on there. You'll be able to access all of the extra content on your mobile device very conveniently, all for less than $1 per episode. And you'll be doing a good thing as well. So head over to aapodcast.com/join or Patreon if you haven't already and support the show. And now after that little throwback, whatever you want to call it, bumper from the news break, it's time for mailbags.
It's time for an almighty anime mailbag. Anime.
Mailbag.
If you want to submit a mailbag, you can do so at aapodcast.com and click on the mailbag button like Raggedy Doctor did. He says, "Hey there, AAA. First off, want to thank you for what I presume is another banger of an episode." Correct. Second, everyone knows about the proverbial angel and devil on your shoulder, but I want to know about the anime version. What two anime characters do you think would be the angel and the devil on your shoulder? Mitsuki brought his little cat, his little kitty cat.
No, that's his devil. That's the devil on his shoulder.
He's pissed. He's pissed.
Why?
Because I'm holding him. He's
like a little cloud in your hands.
Yeah, there he goes.
We got him. Ladies and gentlemen.
Got him.
We got him.
So my angel is... Oh, go ahead,
go ahead.
My angel is Netflix and the devil is High Dive.
Very nice, but that did not answer the question.
Well, it did for me. And I'll tell you what. Because I got this fucking cat's white fluff all over me now.
I'm sure that was your own doing.
That was the High Dive's doing, not Mitz's.
Yeah, I mean, Netflix does a better dub than High Dive ever will. So I don't want to... Poor High Dive, they have nothing. Their player sucks, their service sucks, and Netflix's player is probably the best on the market. And, yeah, it's just tough. It's tough when you're High Dive. More like Low Dive, but yeah. That was my real answer, though. That was my real answer.
Anywho, I put down for Angel, Toru from Fruits Basket, because she's just so, just annoyingly good-natured, and just, she's a little much, I have to say, but if you're looking for an angel on your shoulder, that's her. If you're looking for a devil on your shoulder, to opposite Toru, probably Nino from Quintessential Quintuplets, because she is... very selfish in comparison, but also a bit like she can be very convincing. That I think that is the main draw of a devil on your shoulder, is that they have to be selfish and convincing to make you do bad things. And I think Nino fits that role very nicely. But then I was thinking, what if an angel and a devil from the same show? So for Angel, I picked Anzu from Hina Matsuri because she is an angel, just a very good-natured person. And then for the devil, I picked Hina from Hina Matsuri because she's just, she's a little, she's not evil. She's just really stupid and just selfish in a way that she doesn't even realize is selfish. So
she's too stupid to be mean.
Yeah. It's not that she's mean. It's just that she is ignorant and would make a very good devil in that way. Mason, what are your answers?
So, my first thought is who makes a good angel and devil, like generically. So I'm thinking like, oh, for devil, Ozu from the Tatami Galaxy, just classic friend, always in your ear, trying to make you do the bad thing, and that's fair. But then I thought about, no, this question is, what are your angel and devils? So I'm like, okay, how do I feel like I get impacted? So for the devil, I don't feel like I get told to do bad things and scheme against people. I get told to eat a lot of food and just be lazy and selfish. So for me, my devil is Kagura from Gintama, who is just a force of nature because she can get away with it. And that's probably how I feel like when I'm just like, yeah, I can have more chocolate cake because why not? Why not? And then the angel, I feel like I'm very much compelled by a sense of justice and doing the right thing. So I would say Moomin Rider is the angel on my shoulder telling me, for the sake of justice, what is the right thing to do. So those are my picks.
Very nice.
Thank you.
The angel on my shoulder is Roxanne from Harem and the Labyrinth.
And the devil is her other boob on your other shoulder?
She'll tell me to do bad things. But that's good. That's good for me. So, I'm looking up pictures of Roxanne right now. I got to find a new desktop wallpaper.
Might as well.
Roxanne, Harem, Labyrinth, Etchy. Let's see what we got here. Take a look. Oh, wow.
It's coming in fresh on Monday. New work computer? Yeah.
When is season 2 of this coming out? Damn.
I don't know. You got to make it happen.
All right. Well, we have come to the moment
yes,
that we
have
been working
our
towards
review.
all week.
Have everyone been practicing how to say this dude's name? Nope,
No.
clearly
Gesicht.
not. It's a review of Pluto. This is a fall 2023 show that I passed on episode 701. You can watch this on Netflix. It's all out, obviously. And it follows Detective Gesicht, however you want to say it, in his attempts to solve a case of a string of murders on both robots and humans. Though evidence is suggesting when he gets there at the scene of the crime that it wasn't a human who has done it, and robots should not be allowed or unable or incapable of killing. So who done it? That's the name of the game, and a bunch of big name powerful robots are getting killed, so it's kind of a big deal. So it's a mystery of sorts. It's directed by Toshio Kawaguchi, done by Studio M2, and it's based on a manga that's based on a manga. This is a Urasawa work based on a classic Astro Boy Tezuka work. We didn't bring up Astro Boy in our best robots list, but he clearly would be on it. We just didn't want to overload the Astro Boy talk. So, what was everyone's expectations going into Pluto? We'll start with Mitsugi.
High expectations. I had heard of Pluto already. Naoki Urasawa is an excellent manga creator. And, I just expect, as far as I know, everything he's done has been good. So, the expectations were pretty high from the get-go. But I didn't actually know what the anime was about. I just knew that it had some connection to Astro Boy. So, and that turns out to be true. So,
yeah, we did it. And Caroline, what were you expecting?
Pretty similar to Mitsugi. I didn't really know much about Astro Boy besides, what it looks like because I've seen it, but I never really knew what it was. But I knew that Pluto was in that universe. I knew that you talked about it, that you were really excited for it. So I was thinking it was going to be really good. And I knew it was going to be about the world of humans and robots.
And that it was. Yeah, as they said, high expectations from the manga to the other manga to the producer to the director, full of potential. And this has been in the works for many years. So I can't believe we're finally here. We watched it. Now that we have spoiler-free recommendations, should listeners watch Pluto? Mitsugi, what do you have?
Well, truly, I think it's easy to recommend for a lot of people. It's got an intriguing narrative, kind of nice cop drama type story, a lot of investigating. It's got some cool characters. Brando was probably my favorite, even though he wasn't in it very long.
It's got what plants need.
The just excellent character designs. Urasawa has a a way of uniquely drawing everybody's faces. He's just like, yeah, I can bang out 15 different noses, no problem. Whereas a lot of these anime now are just like we say, different hair colors, swapped out. But this is genuinely not that case where everybody looks different. You got just all the facial features are so distinct. Although I will say that I reckon some of the characters in this look a lot like some of the characters in Monster. And even some characters share the same names, which is fine. Honestly, I thought the animation was mostly good. I don't think it's his best work. I think that's still Monster, but I think that it's very excellent, and for a mature audience is recommendable. I don't think it will interest a lot of the anime. It may not interest the anime fans that are watching Girls in Panzer or some shit like that, because this doesn't really have like your waifus in it and crap like that. But for the older audiences, the dads out there, the people who love sci-fi, like this is probably a really good recommendation. So yeah, I would.
What do you mean it doesn't have waifus? Have you seen Mont Blanc? He brings the thickness.
Yeah.
Everyone loves him.
Yeah, he's that thick. He's cheeked up. 100%.
My man. Caroline.
Yeah, so I would recommend it because I thought it was a really cool world that they kind of set up with a decent cast. And as Mitsuki said, they're all very unique looking, especially with how many different robots types that you see in this show. It's not just a robot. There are so many different models, and they even they give them names, and it's pretty cool. Overall, a very interesting mystery show. It has a good adversary that they kind of have to chase down throughout. I was worried about watching episodes that were an hour long each, but I thought it worked out pretty well. Unfortunately, I thought that the second half did not live up to the first half, in my opinion. At a certain point, the science of the robots started to get pretty muddled for some reason. I started having a hard time knowing what robots were capable of. Are they capable of understanding human emotion? Well, it seems like they are, but they're acting like they shouldn't. Are they capable of hatred? I thought not, but now it is, but they say no, but yes. Are they capable of lying? Yes and no. It's just, and so we got furthermore like that, but also they have all these these brain chips. And my thought is, it should be pretty easy to insert this brain chip into a new body because that's where all your data is, right? But no, it's actually more complicated than that. And it's just, I started not to get it. And it also started to feel a little bit repetitive, too, with the introduction of the advanced robots and how they were trying to fight Pluto. They were going in without a plan every time, and I'll talk more about that later because I don't want to get into spoilers, but they learned nothing new every single time, and it was after several of these fights, I'm like, okay, I get it. The tornado appears, I know what's about to happen, and you're not going to see any of it. So, yeah, I mean, I was starting to get a little bit bored by the second half, but for the most part, I thought it was a very interesting and entertaining show, and I would recommend it, especially since it is, I think it would be a good jumping off point for somebody who is into sci-fi but not necessarily anime yet.
Yeah, that's a fair point, and I agree with both of you. I do recommend Pluto, though I am a little disappointed that I can't come here and be like, oh, it's a masterpiece, flawless, 10 out of 10, everything I wanted it to be. It's good. It's absolutely solid. There were just a couple choices in some of the animation styles, some of the directing, and in typical Urasawa fashion, it's this big ideas, but not really new thoughts or stuff kind of arise. It's kind of repetitive in some of the themes and what it's going for, and it just didn't take that extra step for me. So, yeah, we'll get more into the details. I think this is a very solid, would recommend to a lot, if not a lot of people. I think the hour-long episodes, which exactly align with the 8 volumes of the manga, for the most part, was a good choice. I think if these were split up into 22-minute sections, it would have felt a little too stilted. So I think a lot of good things here. Do recommend it, but we'll get into some gripes as, of course, you came to the AA podcast. What else are we going to do here? But yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, check it out. And heavy spoilers ahead, so If you are on the fence, give it a shot. You might be surprised, and you should.
Yeah, I would say like at episode 3, like at the end of episode 3, I'm like, holy shit, this
You'll know by
is
that point.
good. Yeah.
So let's play the spoiler drop, and if you haven't seen it yet, we'll catch you in the next one. But let's do it.
Spoilers are coming. Oh my god!
Yeah, there is a lot here to talk about. So I guess the one thing that bothers me, and it's not a fault of this series, but I am a fan, and we talked about this in the Undead Girl Murder Farce thing, is about mystery shows. Do you make them so that the viewer can participate in picking up clues and solving them, or do you not? And this is very much the latter. Clues come in when the show wants to tell you about them, whether through exposition or these robots will come to a crime scene and be like, use their sensory analysis to be like, what's that? I detect footprints. What's this? I can detect tea leaves. It's like nothing you could follow. Like, you cannot solve this as a viewer. You have to wait for things to be told what you're looking at. And I'm just not a big fan of those. I get it. It's a unique mystery. I like how it splinters into more and more mysteries as it goes. But it's just one of those types of things, and it always irks me. I'm like, I couldn't participate. I couldn't solve the murder. That's no fun. But I don't know.
Pancake
What do you guys
sort
want
of
to talk about?
Pancake sort of called it around episode 2. I think she more or less predicted the ending.
Well,
Really?
the ending of what? Like what?
Why?
How did she predict it?
She said that the Pluto was the incarnation of all the hatred from the war, which was and that it was the spirits of like people that had been killed that were culminating into like this essence that was trying to kill the people that participated in the war or whatever. And that wasn't exactly correct, but it was almost correct.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, if you've read any Urasawa thing, his themes are always hatred begets hatred, man versus nature versus technology, the pursuit of art and family and a reason for existing, discrimination of lesser beings or the unknown. Like this, it goes back to the well a bunch. And yeah, hatred comes back again and again. That's the big thing.
So so someone said it on Twitch, and I noted it while I was watching it, but you've got the Kingdom of Persia, which is effectively the Middle East.
Yes.
And you've got the United States of Thracia, which let's just call it the United States of America,
Yeah,
attacking.
with Roosevelt and stuff leading it. Yeah, it's very much inspired by the Gulf War.
It's the Iraq War, right?
Yes.
We're looking for weapons of mass destruction. Did you find them? You damn well know we ain't find them.
Maybe
Boondocks.
though, wink, wink.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very much inspired by what was going on between Afghanistan, Iraq, United States during that time. Like, it's not shy about it.
There was enough stuff in this anime that made it intriguing. I mean, the story is quite simple when you get to the end of it all, but the unfolding of the events of the anime were, to me, I enjoy when you see things that don't make sense until way later, and it almost requires a rewatch, honestly, because some of the stuff that was said early on will make more sense having completed it. But I also think that that's good writing, where they tend to tie in together like narrative elements that showed up like way earlier in the show. And I think they did this with Pluto. I appreciated that Zgazik was a decent vessel to have the narrative play through for most of the anime, and it just worked well for me. And on top of that, there's like the mysterious element of Pluto and all this, and but they also had compelling stories for just about every one of the 7 super robots.
Yeah,
they were
I
effective.
appreciated that.
You knew they were all doomed. You knew North Number 2, you knew Brando, you knew Hercules, you knew they were all going to die.
Oh, I didn't know that. I was kind of hoping like, okay,
The writing was
are they going
on
to do
the
the same
wall.
thing over and over again for like 6 times in a row? I hope not, but they did.
The writing was on the wall, and you just knew it was coming, but you still felt for them when they went off to fight their death. And
Who was your favorite?
I liked it. I liked North Number 2. I think that was my favorite story of the entire series.
Yeah, especially since they spent so much, like, going into episode number 2, I still didn't really know what the deal was, what was going to be. Like, I didn't have a clear idea of what the show was going to be like. And so going into North number 2's story blind, I didn't really know what these like advanced robots were. I didn't know that he was one of them, and his role in the war and all that. But I liked having no context, and I thought it was just a robot story, living his robot life in this really terrible person's house, and in their story together. And I was like, this is so nice. I'm like, I was gonna cry by the end of it, but I didn't. But still, I wish we got a little bit more like that for the other robots, because his story, I think, was the most fleshed out.
It was almost the full episode in a sense, though. Like, it felt like it had time where Brando was like, oh, he has family, isn't that cute? Okay, he's got to go die. Oh, Hercules, he's friends with Brando, and he's really upset, and he's chasing it. Like, die. It was there, you could fill in the pieces, but it did feel a little stifled. And one thing that irked me was there was a ton of stuff that was kind of introduced, but kind of fizzled out without much fanfare. Like the copycat killings of the people doing the horns at the crime scene. They're like, oh, that was no one. These like anti-robot pseudo KKK groups.
And that was dropped. Like, what happened with that? It was
kind of going, and it just never really amounted to much. And obviously you have the whole Adolf character who kind of represents them, and he kind of came around and learned to appreciate and care and turn against the cycle of hatred. Like, I get that it's there, but as a overarching plot point, there's just a lot of things introduced that were kind of unnecessary. And I think we'll talk about Dr. Roosevelt.
I can think of one big unnecessary one.
The teddy bear at the end, which just wasn't necessary. And I get there's always someone deeper pulling the strings. It's the layers and layers deep, but it kind of cheapened a lot of what was happening before
absolutely.
It. So,
like, can we, like, well, since you bring it up, let's get into it now. Because the moment I saw this teddy bear and a voice I thought was coming from that teddy bear, I was thinking, oh my God, that just plummeted Mitsugi's score like 2 points. Like, they had, for whatever reason, they had to throw this in there. It could not be a regular robot. It had to be a freaking teddy bear.
You've seen Danganronpa, you've seen Vivi, you're like, dumb. The bear, stupid.
It's like, stupid. Yeah.
And on top of that, who the frick is he? Where did he come from? Why is he there? What is his motivation? There's no explanation onto why this is a robot freaking teddy bear.
It isn't explained well, but unless I'm mistaken, the robot is a advisor. He's a supercomputer AI that's an advisor to the president that has been orchestrating a lot of the events of the show, basically. So in a way, he's the villain.
So like when they send the Brando fact-finding mission and they don't find the weapons, the robots of mass destruction, he's still kind of the force that makes the war happen. And that's never really introduced that well. I think he's introduced earlier in the manga, but it just feels dropped in and kind of, why couldn't Abdullah just be mad? Why couldn't it just come from him? Why did all this...
There was so much buildup on that, like, and it just felt like it was a distraction.
And there's some like BS red herrings that I'm never a fan of, like when Pluto, when he is killed, or not Pluto, Adam, which is a cool scene when
he goes out like a little bitch
boy incarnate. But when he's like, he like mind melds with Gazit, and he's like, "You and Pluto are the same. Are you the one who murdered me, detective?" And you're like, "Oh no, is Gazit Pluto? Are they one?" And it's like, no, he just meant that they both kind of have hatred in their heart. And that's the hatred that killed them. But it just was like a weird... It's trying to throw you off the trail and make you think about things. Those things are... It is what it is. It's fine. It didn't make or break it to me. I like pretty much all the characters. And I think they did their job well. I like the depth of the whole Abdullah multiple personality, multiple robots. Because you think it's just Pluto. Pluto's the bad guy. But it's actually Pluto and Bora. And there's like multiple... giant robots that are threatening from different angles, and trying to sort that all out is kind of intriguing.
Yeah. I like learning about... I think Pluto is pretty cool. Like, the story of Sahad, and it's not just evil robot, but it's like the family dynamics added in. I mean, I thought I wasn't quite sure like what was going on with Pluto sometimes, because it felt like he had switched sides, but I don't know if that was just like a personality disorder of some sort where he wanted to break free and do a good thing, but then his mind got taken over again by the hatred that his father inserted in him.
He kind of inherited his robo father's hatred, and it kind of just manifested within him, and he could kind of control it sometimes, but sometimes he couldn't, and
that's kind of what I landed on, but I kind of wanted that to be a little clearer.
It's one of those Urasawa things where he writes these big ideas, and sometimes it doesn't always execute as cleanly as I would like. But I think the brush strokes are there. Just some of the details are, you kind of overlook them.
But it was, like, other than that, just a very cool, kind of, like, not scary, but definitely intimidating villain with, like, thrusting the horns into the head of the person he killed.
All the imagery and symbolism was always really cool. Whenever Braun, whatever that, like, robot that was, like, skewered like a freaking Eva person was, like, talking about, like, Pluto, like the god and stuff, you're like, oh yeah, this is intense. And then you see Pluto
like,
in episode 8, and he looks kind of goofy. And I know it's inspired by the classic, but I will say I like how this show looked most of the time. The backgrounds were lush with detail and atmosphere. The characters, I enjoy them. The directing was very lackluster. It was very much just copied from the manga, very flat, just uninteresting angles. The action was kind of hit or miss. Like, some things looked purposely off kilter and had this fluid like combat, and sometimes they're like fighting against a tornado, and it looks like South Park where they're just like flapping around. They're like, oh no, it's a tornado, it's coming after me. I'm not here for the action.
That's when I got bored, is when the tornado came, because I knew we would not see anything interesting.
Exactly. The action was okay, but the biggest problem was that they applied these weird compositing and digital effects across the board, and sometimes it looked kind of okay, but there's a lot of times where it just was too much, or characters didn't fit in within their environments. And I get it. Striving for that hyper-realistic, grounded visuals are very difficult. And I think they did an extraordinary job most of the time. There's just a couple moments where I'm just like, that wasn't a good choice. So I mean, overall, I'd say it looked good.
Nothing I saw really bothered me. I just, like, whenever I saw something that looked a little off, I just took it as a stylistic choice.
Yeah. I just didn't always enjoy those choices.
You know, I didn't.
The sound of this thing was amazing, though.
How does Gazik get away with wearing that orange suit with his blonde hair? He looks terrible.
I don't know, but I kind of mess with it. You know, he's very proper. It's proper. He's made of zirconium, my dude.
Didn't help him a whole lot.
He's beige all the way down.
Yeah, his zirconium was real effective till he fucking gets blown up.
Yeah. But you mentioned like the sound of it. I thought the music was also really good. Like whenever, especially when the end credits roll, I'm like, this music just sounds so. It just sounds so.
It's like retro.
Yeah, retro. That's the word.
And futuristic.
It's cool.
But even the ending songs were always great. The songs during the show, they were brought forth like haunting dread when they needed to, with the mystery unwinding and the big reveals. It was amazing. The sub and the dub were both awesome. Like, if someone was like, is this a good dub? I would say, yeah, it was very solid. So. I actually switched back and forth episode to episode because almost every character in both versions I thought were really quality. There was a couple, Uran, just nasally high-pitched girls.
Yeah,
just
she was a little annoying.
Get a little annoying in the dub. Yeah. But for the most part.
She was annoying in the sub, too.
She was totally.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm like. It's annoying either. They're little children. What do you expect? I thought, would recommend this highly if someone was like, I'm a dub only watcher, and that like cuts on their thing. Yeah, go for Pluto. This and like Cyberpunk Edge Runners really were solid work. So, yeah.
One thing that I kept on thinking about, and I know this is just a Caroline-ism, doesn't really matter, is like, what's the deal with robots going to school? Especially when you have like the most advanced robot in the world, Adam, going to school. And his little sister, who I presume is also, like, ultra smart. Like, if you have a literal computer for a brain, why are you even going to school? I know it's to interact with children and to act more like
To
human.
learn
and
how
blah,
to
blah, blah.
be a human.
Yeah, that I would be pissed if I got beat out in the top test scores because I'm sitting next to Computertron 3000 over here.
Yeah. You know, not to jump around too much, but speaking of Adam, who got talked up a lot and then got wrecked in 2 seconds.
He did get wrecked.
There was a big miss at the end where, what the hell is the wife's name?
Helena?
Helena, whatever, Gazik's wife. I thought for sure she was going to adopt Adam because they lost their kid. Adam is a kid. Adam has part of Gazik in him or whatever. Gazik
I
died.
feel like he already has a family. Or
Does he?
Adam lives with his sister
Yeah, with
and
Uran and the
Ochanu
professor.
Miku.
All right. I mean,
He's already got his
like
little
it's
curse.
going to suck when the
Not a
professor
traditional
dies in
family
6
life,
months.
but he still has,
The professor,
I think
he's
he's happy.
he's like 80. Let's see, do they have his age on here? What the hell?
I don't know. He's still spry. He's still bouncing around the globe. International man of science.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess.
I mean,
He's-
I like that Adam died. I'm always like when they come back from the dead, I'm like, it cheapens it, but he's a robot. It's fine. I'll
Especially
allow
when
it.
he's the only one that managed to come back. I feel like it should be easier to bring a robot with a made out of
60, no
parts
fucking
and
way.
pieces. You can build a robot. You should be able to repair a robot as long as the hard drive is intact. If his head was blown up, then yeah, sure. You can't repair that. You can't bring him back. But his head was perfectly fine. Unless, I don't know, it got screwed up in electrical patterns or whatever. That would
he
make
did
sense.
say
But I don't
some
think
weird
that
stuff
happened,
about
did
it.
it?
I love the very once again Evangelion Gendo-esque Tenma who just builds the most perfect boy ever, and it's just you're not enough like my son. I hate you. Go die.
You don't dislike this dish.
Oh my goodness, it's sad. Tenma I think is a
Yeah.
phenomenal character.
He was cool.
Love his whole thing, and obviously Tenma shares the name from Monster. Unrelated, Tenma already existed in the Astro Boy canon, and just so happened to have the same name as Dr.
yeah.
Tenma from
Well,
Monster.
they didn't look the same at all either. So
No, unlike some other folks, which were a little more stylistically similar. Epsilon, I think his story was almost
he was
as
the
good as
worst.
North number 2,
Terrible.
but I think they just didn't quite nail it down as much as I wanted.
I did not like Epsilon. He was my least favorite out of all of them.
Really?
I love how I feel like the wind blows just for Epsilon's hair. That's the only
So
reason why the
glorious.
wind blows is so that he can be he could just remind you how luscious it is.
He's so out of place. Everybody else has these Urasawa facial features like the bulbous noses or the ears, etc. And then here's this fucking pretty Bishy coming out of nowhere, and who's useless, by the way. It is nothing helpful.
Well, I think that is purpose because he feels isolated because he was one of the 7 who didn't go off to fight. He stayed back. He was the pacifist, and he feels alienated from his kin, and he got a lot of shit for it. So, makes sense.
Yeah.
Somebody said in the Twitch chat that Tenma is Geppetto gone bad.
He tries.
True.
I mean, Tenma isn't inherently good or bad. He just kind of wants to make cool robots, and he doesn't care if those end up being Earth-destroying ones or good ones. I wish he would have told people ahead of time, hey, Abdullah is a robot and also not who we think and maybe not a good guy, but
Yeah,
he
I
didn't
feel like
really
he could have
care.
done a little bit more. And actually, I just realized something when I was watching it towards the end, because he got captured by Abdullah, and he was shown Bora. He was in his little secret laboratory, and then he's like, hey, actually, you are a robot. You just lied to yourself. You're actually a robot. You're not human. And so then he has a major breakdown. And then suddenly Tenma's back at home just lounging around. I'm like, wait a minute. Was there something I missed? Did I miss a scene? How he... Because that seems like a really big jump from destroying this guy's life and him totally breaking down, the major villain of the entire show, by the way, and you just left?
Yeah,
So,
I don't know. I
that
just
could
like
be-
how they're like, oh, the perfect robot. And you're like, okay, this has got to be Adam. They're like, no, it's not Adam. And you're like, oh, it's got to be Pluto. And you're like, no, it's not Pluto. It's just some minister of science guy. It's like, I like how it twisted and turned. I enjoyed where it was going. I just don't think, I think it lost the plot of hatred and what it meant to be a robot until the very end, where everyone's like, we had that confrontation between Adam and Pluto, and he's like, you should feel sad about it. He's like, I do feel sad. They're like, okay, now that we know we're both sad, we can kill Bora with this weird equation for anti-proton bombs that you learn in your cell because you just got. It just felt a little
that was very sudden.
Wrapping things up at the end, and it was a little unsatisfactory in that regard, but
I agree.
It kind of had to end within the confines of the Astro Boy box, so I guess I don't dislike it that much.
I think this anime is exceptional in most areas, but sometimes the pacing did drag for me a little bit. When the side stories that are, if you really think about it, they spend an entire core of this anime just like picking off the robots one at a time, and they're very and with some notable like connections throughout the stories, they do seem kind of isolated. They do make reference to other characters, but it's like, okay, North number 2 dies, and then we go, now we're going to go now we're going to go hang out with Brando for a while, and then we're going to go to Hercules, and it's just like, there was an episode I was watching, we watched about half of this on an airplane, and I was like straight bored at one point in like episode 3 or 4, because it was just like, just not interesting, like not a lot was happening. It was just talking about people getting murked and all this, and I'm just like, I felt like the pacing didn't hold up all the time. And to be honest with you, I think the more interesting ending would have been to let Bora blow up and then have the humanity try to deal with the fallout of the extinction. Like, to me, that's
so go watch.
Let them die.
That's a lot more interesting than like the way this anime wrapped up. Because let's be honest, I don't care if there's a Sahad or whoever the fuck inside of Pluto. When you go around and you start killing all these famous robots that clearly have plenty of rights as, beings, however you want to refer to them, you don't just get a fucking pass because you start crying, like in the middle of the battle.
Well, he did sacrifice himself to
way afterwards.
Well, at what point was he given a pass?
When Astro Boy didn't fucking kill him?
Because he wanted to stop the cycle of hatred, and he figured, like, this guy can be talked to.
Well, it seems a little naive, Maybe you just think he's able to be talked to, and then at the end he ends up saying "fuck you," and then you're getting impaled by horns again.
It's similar with
Monster. Best case scenario, which happened, is that the guy can help you. Worst case scenario is that the world's gonna end anyway. So what's even the point?
Well, I'm just trying to be entertained, and if I'm being perfectly honest, I don't really find the message of hatred creates more hatred to be very interesting. Like, it's probably the 40th thing I've seen where hatred is like the theme. Like, I don't give a fuck. I honestly don't give a fuck. I'd rather have the volcano blow up and watch the robots try to survive without the humans, because I'm not sure they would be able to. But, I don't know.
Yeah, like, I'm okay with like the hatred begets hatred theme and all that. I was not on board with the ending basically being, well, we got to make a world without hatred. Like, are you going to turn everybody into robots? Because that's the only way you're going to do that.
Are you going to give everybody like SSRIs? You can't just eliminate a key emotion.
Fundamental in human nature to hate. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Once again, the series today, hatred's bad, okay? But we don't really have a solution for it, so let's be better. Like, come on, give me something juicier than that. But
well, I mean, and it's like even the robots have hatred. It's so pervasive.
Yeah,
you can't get away from it.
Because they're trying to become more human, and it's core to what it means to be human. And just like that, we're hating on the show. Hater. No,
I mean, the show is really good.
About the side things. Like, the question is, episode 4, where like some robot dog is just wandering around and like kind of dies. Like, were you compelled by that? Yes or no? I found that more engaging in some moments. I found it more engaging than when they're just like straight up talking about the 39th Asian or not Asian American War, Robot War, whatever it is, and they say it 1,000 times, and you're like, okay, I got it. War's bad. But,
Okay. Melancholy from the Twitch is appreciating the SSRI talk.
What does SSRI stand for?
It's an uptake inhibitor. It's a classification of drugs that include most of like the antidepressants and stuff.
yeah.
What does that have to do with what we were talking about?
If you wanted to get rid of hatred in the world, you'd have to put everybody on like steep like levels of Klonopin or something to like
Something
to suffocate.
I guess I
improve
missed
their
that.
mood.
It's to level out
Cannabis
their
for
emotions.
everyone.
Yeah.
No, I think we're all in agreement. This show, for the most part, hits the right notes, does it well, and is solid. Just had a couple things that just irked us in one way or another that probably changed how much we loved the show by the end.
I didn't think the show had good action. I thought I heard one of you say it, but
No,
it
the
had good
action
moments.
scenes weren't great. It had a couple moments, but for the most part, it was pretty lackluster in the
I mean,
action department.
you could have had a great action scene with Adam the first time he fought Pluto, but instead it was just
Yeah.
the stupid like mouth closing thing, and then it was over. And I'm like, really? That's all we're gonna get after this build up?
I think one of the problems is that we never we never really learn much from those fights. I wish there was just, you see more of what he does, or like you get a better idea of, his fighting ability. I know they want to keep him in mystery, but darn it, it's boring after the 17th tornado that you don't see anything happen. And
Yeah.
these are supposed to be the most advanced robots. You want to see them freaking fight.
Robots also they have to poop. Getting back to the poop, we talked about this. Poopsenders.com. You can because Adam was eating ice cream. It's got to go somewhere. It doesn't just sit in there. He's gonna
It's fuel.
Turn it into
he's
poo.
a pure machine. He's channeling all of it into calories.
By the way,
Not
I
a
bought some.
single thing goes to waste.
By the way, I bought some ice cream yesterday at the grocery store. That was so killer. It was this Tillamook sugar cookie ice cream. It's like
Tillamook is amazing.
Oh, it's so good. It's as
Their
if
cheese is also phenomenal.
imagine chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream, but sugar cookie dough instead, with like little chunks of sugar, just straight up sugar in the ice cream. Oh, it was so fucking good. All right, Caroline, no more poop talk.
Thanks. I think that's
So
like
what
the
was
third time
everyone's
it's been
final
brought
score
up.
for Poopto?
For Poopto,
Yeah.
God, I just hated the ending.
Yeah, not great.
Pluto looked so stupid. After all this, he could have been like so vicious looking, but he looked very Astro Boy like sort of at the end, and and it's just like how I think that Dr. Ochanomizu, which is Ochanomizu, basically means like tea water. It's just a stupid name.
Cha.
But
I think it has the those kanji in it too.
I wouldn't be shocked. It seems too on the nose. Oh yeah, it does. Ochanomizu for sure. Yeah, that's hilarious. So Dr. Tea Water looks better in this than he does in the Astro Boy equivalent. I was looking at him.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it's just like one of them looks like they're meant for adults, and one of them looks like it's meant for 8-year-olds. It's just simple. And I thought that the Pluto robot looked like he was created for an 8-year-old, where I thought that like all the other main robot designs in this all looked more like they were geared
Even
for older
Mont
people.
Blanc, who looks very cartoony,
He did.
still looks very grounded in this world.
And he
Like
looks
Pluto looks so, and Boar in a sense, look too stretchy and like they're made out of rubber.
yeah, and by
Oh.
the way,
Like that one part where Pluto is in the rubble, and I'm just gonna call him Gijit because that's how they say it in the dub or sub. And so he's there. He corners Pluto. Pluto's in the rubble, and all you can see are his like white eyes peeking out. I'm like, oh, he looks so cute. It's just- he just looks so cute, even just with his eyes.
yeah. What was the first robot's name again? Can't remember.
Mont
Blanc?
Blanc.
Mont Blanc. He looked damn good in his suspenders. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That and
Boy's
he's like,
thick.
oh, he
Damn,
is
that's a
fucking cheeked
thick
up,
boy.
thick boy. That's a thick ass boy. All right.
Everyone, I think, got moved over from Astro Boy looks to this one very well, except for, I don't know, the Pluto and Bora looked fine. Bora didn't really upset me.
Laura
but
looked weird to me. It was
he looked like a big
what?
old baby,
Yeah.
blockhead baby. But no, I think most of this show is good, and I'm ready to score it if you guys are.
Why don't you go ahead?
Just one more point. Like, I really like the vastness of the world building here because they like go to several different locations all around the world and they keep on going to them and like their standard settings. But I do have a gripe with it because they acted like they were going from Amsterdam and to Tokyo and it was like across the street from each
Yeah,
other. The
I
way
agree.
that the detective is just constantly bouncing from place to place. I'm like, holy moly. Like, how fast do you guys get to these places?
Adam too. He'll be flying. He's like, I'm
Yeah,
coming,
Adam, too.
and he's just flying across the whole ocean in 2 seconds.
Like, let me go across Europe and help you out in this fight you are actively having
Yeah,
right now.
He's flying at the speed of sound, or even faster.
I know
than
they're
that.
robots, but I
He's
need
not
to know
flying
how
far.
fast are they going?
Even at the speed
when
of
they're
sound.
in Europe, it's pretty quick, but yeah.
Even at the speed of sound, it would still take like 3 hours to cross the Atlantic Ocean. So, I mean, I don't know how fast he's going, but it's fucking fast. So,
Like, I tried to suspend my disbelief because, as you said, a lot of it happens in Europe, and they are basically how close states are in America. But still, like, they're going from Tokyo to, I don't know, London constantly. It's crazy.
But yeah, I don't know. It depends. Do you want to score it, Caroline? Or
All right,
you
let's
want me to
score
go?
it. Overall, I thought it was pretty cool. A little different from, a lot of other shows that we watch. And I think if you're trying to get somebody into anime that isn't yet and they do like sci-fi, I think this is a really good choice. Production-wise, I thought it was, stylistic and had good music and you like the characters. I also liked how they solved the crimes using futuristic technology and how they really built this world for the story. But it did have its drawbacks, and we've talked quite extensively about them. But I do think that the pros outweigh the cons for the most part. So I think I'll give this show 4 flower robots out of 5.
here they go. They're writing down our scores on the betting degeneracy. Mason?
Yeah, I'm with Caroline on this. I'm also going to give it 4 fields of flowers out of 5. I think I was between that or a 3.5, but I think at the end of the day, the show felt unique and fresh, and for hour-long episodes really didn't drag as much as I was fearing for them. I mean, essentially we watched 24 episodes in a week, and it didn't feel that bad. And considering how dense and just full of ideas it was, I think it played off pretty well. So I'm ecstatic with how it turned out. Wish it could have been cleaned up here and there, but for the most part, I think Pluto is a very solid experience, and I'm glad we watched it.
I think Pluto is a darn good anime. I like watching shows that feel like they're made for my demographic. It's just like a little more mature, I don't know, which is nice. It's a breath of, it's a breather from like Bang Dream or one of these, which is, clearly not meant for 38-year-old dudes, I don't think, but this anime felt like that. It was well put together. It looked good. There were some sections in it that I just didn't care about. I didn't care about the stupid whole episode about fucking we're drawing flowers on some I understand why they did it, but like I just didn't give a shit. Ultimately, I think the ending is really what got me, because it just didn't end the way I wanted. It's like, yeah, okay, sure, you're gonna fly to the Earth's core. That's believable. You fucking melt in like 2 seconds. So I don't care what you're made out of. You're going to melt 2 seconds. And so I am going to give it... I'm also going to give it 4... I don't know. 4 of the... Whatever those rockets were called that guy bought. I don't know how he afforded that, but he did it. So there you go. Across the board.
Wow.
Cubed. 4 cubed.
I feel like it's been a while since we've got all the same scores.
I know. I'm like,
Let's
wow,
see.
Mason's
I'm
agreeing
looking
with my
back through.
score.
They had to do
That's
some...
surprising.
I was on the fence.
They had to do some bets on that on the Discord. Be like 20-1. Everyone gives the same score. How'd you like that?
I don't know. I feel like I think nobody
Think
would. I think that's a bad bet.
time we did it was. I was gonna say Made in Abyss season 2, but actually Devil's a Part-Timer season 2. We all gave it a 1.
Well,
So-
man,
In
that
our
sucked.
hatred, we are in solidarity.
How far we have come. Pluto, good, confirmed. Love to see it. Lock it down. Watch it if you haven't. And we kind of didn't spoil that much because you don't know what's
No,
going
not
on.
really.
Because we didn't get into the whole like interrelationships and multiple. So hey, there you go. If you haven't seen it, we liked it, so go watch it now. Thank you very much.
And by the way, I mean, you were warned anyway, so I don't want to see any of these like 1-star
yeah.
reviews on iTunes complaining.
Oh, that happened once, and I don't think it was referring to like this kind of review. I think we might have mentioned something. I don't even know what we were talking about. But
Literally
I can't remember.
half of our 1-star reviews on iTunes going back like 14 years are always like, you said my favorite anime wasn't a 5. Like, go fuck yourself. I'm like, okay, well, very
Shouldn't
few,
have been your
very
favorite
few things
anime
are
then.
5. Yeah.
You were wrong. Sorry.
Sorry.
We probably got at least 5 1-stars on Apple Podcasts just from giving Demon Slayer like a 4. That wasn't good.
I don't even think we gave it a 4. I think we gave it like 3.5.
It's really like a 1, to be honest.
I would say that.
Let's get out of here. All
right, guys.
Up, Mitch.
Thanks so much for listening to the podcast today. That's our show. We're going to do an after party afterwards because Pancake is sick. I was going to make her pick another hentai from November and have her watch it, not knowing what she was getting into. But we'll have to do that next week. So,
Or in like 4 weeks.
Why 4 weeks?
Because I won't be here next week.
Oh, well, I can still do it with her.
There you go.
There you go. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Again, aaapodcast.com/join our Patreon. That's how you support the podcast. We do need the support. If everything in the world is expensive, and we haven't increased our prices since like 2014. So think about how that works out for you. If you want to join the Discord, AAAdiscord.com. A lot of people on there. They're betting. They're developing betting addictions right now. It's pretty funny. Again, love having you guys here. Go check us out on social media, all the places, wherever you go, we're on there. So check us out, give us a follow, and next week I guess we're going to review Birdie Wing season 2, which should be much more easy to watch than Pluto. So that's the anime you can watch half asleep. So, all right, guys. Until next week, take care. Have a great week. I hope you enjoyed, and don't forget to tip your waitress. Bye bye.
Yep,
Bye.
see ya.